Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 25th of May, comes to you from London. And mixed picture in the markets this morning. We're seeing a mix of green and red, so it just tells me at a glance that not everything's up, not everything's down. So we've got a mixed picture going on. This is my weekly, my daily, and my 60-minute chart with the corresponding point and figure charts, long-term, medium-term, and short-term view of the markets. And we will start by looking at currencies, then stocks, some commodities, and last of all, energy. So we see here that the dollar is sinking lower, breaking that support level, making new lows. So that's really significant there, breaking below that 89.60 level. So we are seeing dollar weakness creeping back, and this low that we saw back in January is now coming under threat. We've got a target that suggests we will go a further 5% lower, and just waiting for this downside target around 20% lower to be activated. Euro is sitting at 122.50, so that's breaking to new highs, levels not seen since January. So significant there. We're seeing euro strength on that dollar weakness. Sterling sitting at 141.76. The targets are pretty clear here, 146, and the longer term target of 150. And if we take a look at Bitcoin, we're sitting at $38,900. So a little bit of a recovery this week. This is the weekly candle, of course. We're just seeing that recovery yesterday, and we're back into short-term bullish territory. A move below 30,000 would deactivate the $107,000 target, but we do now have downside targets, so there's some uncertainty about which way we'll go. The S&P 500 index was up 1% yesterday. The Nasdaq was also up sharply, and so we are seeing US stocks recovering. Nasdaq finding support on the cloud. That's good news. We need to see a move above 14,000 on the Nasdaq 100, and of course we're now watching 13,000 as a support level, so that's quite critical. The futures are up 0.3% in the S&P and up nearly 0.6% on the Nasdaq E-mini, suggests the US market will open higher today, and as a result the VIX volatility is lower. We're seeing here we're sinking below the cloud, back into the teens, below 20. That's good news for the fear index. The FTSE future is down very slightly. The DAX in Germany is up 0.2% in the cash market. The CAC 40 is down very slightly. So a mixed picture in Europe. Asia looking stronger. We've got Japan up 0.4%. The Hang Seng was up 1.7%. And actually the Shanghai Composite actually looking very strong, up 2.5%, kicking higher. That's a really strong day there, and that's put us into bull territory for sure, with good upside targets still on the Chinese market. The Sensex in India is just hovering around no change, and the Aussie market was up 1%, holding that all important 7,000 level, not quite making a new all-time high yet. We'll look at energy in a minute, but looking at the soft commodities, we've got wheat down slightly, just pulling back, still got strong upside targets there, and corn also back, pulling back, but again, chart's still very strong. Gold sitting at 1880, holding on to its bull trend, just struggling to break that 1900 level, but still in bullish territory. And silver, we're just waiting for this break above $30 for the big breakout. And if we look at copper, up further at 4.56, so we're looking much stronger there. We've really more than doubled. We're up 2.5 times on copper this year, so that's looking very strong in the last year. So looking at 10-year yields, sinking lower on the short-term chart. Did have targets to the 150s, and that's roughly where we are. 149 is the downside target. We need to deactivate this big upside target. We'd have to move all the way back below 102. So that target of 3.3% hangs over us, so that's quite key. And we do still have these targets to 1.73, back to the highs that we saw previously. German bond yields, the future, quite interesting there. We are sitting on 169, and that is still struggling to get above that 170 level. So that's the critical level for European bonds at the moment. That's the bond future. Looking at the energy mix, we've got Brent Crude sitting at 68.29. Had a strong day yesterday, showing up in the daily candle. This is my daily and my 60-minute chart. Now looking at the point and figure targets, we're seeing here we've now got this downside target with this reactive relief rally. If we go lower, that activates a target back to 57.97. So quite significant. Looks like we're going back to the top of the range. We've got targets pointing us there. Keep an eye on those 1 minute charts. US nat gas sitting at 289, struggling to get back into the bull trend there. We were bearish for the week, given that we're below the cloud and we've got these downside targets. Coal sitting at $80.80. That's the first time it's broken to new highs. That's very significant for coal. So looking very bullish indeed. And emissions sitting at 53.19. So that's quite key there as well. And if we look at MBP, we're up 2.6% this morning. Not quite yet breaking to new highs. We've got to break that high there to have a higher high. This could be the higher low. We now need to see the higher high. It's all about the Dow theory. TTF, much the same picture. And if we go to power markets, power again just nudging those levels, got to break to new high. We have got upside targets suggesting we will. This is just looking like a pullback to support and then a push higher. Keep an eye on these 1 minute targets, and of course we do have short-term targets. If we go lower than the low that we saw last week, we do activate quite a big downside target for power, so we need to be aware of that. Looking at Nordic power, up 3.3% this morning. The only market that we had strong conviction on this week in our energy report was the quarterly contract for Nordic power. That's up 7% this morning, so we're feeling vindicated on that one. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.